I hate being lied to, especially when it concerns something that I really love. And it looks like Harley Davidson did some lying about the Sportster and their reasons for killing it. So now let's get this out of the way. I am by no stretch of the imagination a Harley Davidson fanboy. They really don't build anything I like, with one exception, the Sportster. And in my mind, the Sportster is the greatest motorcycle ever built. I know, that's a stretch, right? But the thing about the Sportster is it's an ultimate blank slate. The Sportster can be, and has been, anything you want to make it. A dirt bike, a dirt tracker, a hill climber, a drag bike, a road race bike, a bobber, a chopper, a bar hopper, a cruiser. Anything you want to make a Sportster, you can make it. It's the perfect blank slate. It's one of the easiest bikes in the world to work on. It's universally recognized. It's been in production. It was in production for 70 years. I count the K models as Sportsters also. So from 52 to 56, it was a K model and then 57 Sportster. But the point is, 70 years. Today, one of the biggest trends in all of motorcycling is the retro classic, the modern retro classic. The Sportster was the real McCoy. It was the real thing from beginning, till now. But Harley Davidson claimed that they had to kill it. It had to go because they couldn't meet the Euro 5 emission standards. Not US emission standards, but the Euro 5 emission standards. And because of that, and the fact that they couldn't sell it in Europe anymore, they were going to discontinue it and instead go with the water-cooled version of it that nobody really asked for, nobody really wants. It's trouble-prone, it's weird-looking, it's a bike that absolutely comes with its own pronouns. I mean, it's weird. It's just weird. Where the original Sportster was just classic, iconic, timeless. And like I said, the perfect blank slate that you could build anything from. But they killed it. And that bothered me a lot, because I've owned dozens of them over the years and I plan on owning more in the future. My permanent fleet has nothing but Sportsters and Sportster derivatives in it. I love the Sportster. So like I said, that was their story when they absolutely killed the bike. 2021 into 2022. The 2022s like leftover 2021s. I said, okay, well that's the end of a line. It's a shame. And I did a video about it. Now, right after they announced that they were going to kill the bike, I saw that there was a Chinese clone of the Sportster that was being built by a company called Shineray, and I saw a video of them running what looked to be an Evo Sportster motor on a stand, and it sounded like an Evo Sportster motor. It looked like an Evo Sportster motor, and the two guys from Shineray were standing there and all happy and proud. Look what we got, right? I'm like, man, how do you like that? They started cloning this thing like immediately, like. They were barely done producing them in the States. We're producing this because they were building them in Thailand for a while too, right? It's just the production line is barely cooled off yet, and they've got this clone going. You know what? Harley Davidson, they're known for going after anybody and everybody for infringement, okay? There was the big thing with SMS. There was the big thing with they were trying to patent the noise, the sound. Right? I don't know if you guys remember this. Like when the metric cruisers started coming in, Harley Davidson had this thing where they wanted to patent the sound, right? But like I said, they've always been crazy protecting their name and their trademarks and their all of that. I wonder why they're not like just absolutely going berserk over this Chinese clone, even though they're not building the bike anymore. All right, I didn't give it any more thought. Right? So a year or two goes by now. And since I'm first aware of this, and I'm saying to myself, I'm in the mood for I think I like maybe buy a newer bike, just something that doesn't need any work, just something just completely stock to tool around with. Man, it's just a shame. Let me see if I can find maybe a last year 21 or 20, 21, 22 in decent shape in the area for a decent price, and then. I remembered about the clone. I was like, Joe, I wonder what that clone looks like. So I start searching. So the clone turns out to be a bike called the Stormbreaker 1200. And while Shineray owns it, Shineray is the big Chinese company, the Stormbreaker 1200 is produced by SWM in Italy. Okay? Now, this is important. They're building the bike now, they're producing it now. And I looked to see if there were any dealers, any way I can acquire one here in the States. Because if it's that close to being a Sportster, you know, and I'm looking at the pictures, and it is absolutely a Sportster. It looks like a current refresh, you know, where every once in a while, every couple of decades, they'll refresh the bike, you know, just smooth out some edges or whatever, you know, just restyling, just upgrading. And that's exactly what it looks like. It looks like the current year Sportster or a last year Sportster with just some refined, different gauge. Tank lines are a little bit different. But other than that, you look at this bike, every single aspect of this bike, right down to the handlebar switches, are exact Sportster. How are they getting away with this? Right? And they're selling it in Europe. And it's an air-cooled Evo motor. It's a 1200cc Evo motor. I thought Harley Davidson stopped building the Sportster because it wouldn't pass the Euro 5 emission standards. But yet, here is an Evo Sportster, by any other name, being built and sold in Italy for the European market. Well, how is SWN and Shineray able to get this thing through emissions when Harley Davidson couldn't? All right, so something's starting to smell a little fishy, right? So now I do some searching, right? What exactly is the story with Shineray, SWM, and the Stormbreaker 1200? I'm searching, I'm trying to find, and I come across this. All right? So I asked, I went to AI, because AI, right? Everything's AI these days. Let AI do the searching for you. So I come across this. I asked, did Harley Davidson license the Sportster to SWM? Okay. This is the answer I got. No, Harley Davidson did not officially license the Sportster to SWM. Instead, SWM's parent company, the Chinese firm Shineray, purchased the production line and blueprints for the discontinued air-cooled Evo Sportster engine, allowing them to produce their own version. Key details of the deal. After halting production of the traditional air-cooled Sportster, Harley Davidson sold the manufacturing equipment and blueprints to Shineray. Shineray used this acquisition to build its own cruiser, the Stormbreaker V1200, which is sold under the Italian SWM brand name in Europe and strongly resembles a now discontinued Harley Davidson Sportster 72 model. The SWM Stormbreaker V1200 is built with an air-cooled 1200cc V-twin engine based on the Harley Davidson Evo design. Okay. I thought you had to stop building the Sportster, the real Sportster, because it wouldn't meet your Euro 5 emissions. And no wonder you're not going after these companies for cloning your product. You sold the product to them. What that means is that the Stormbreaker, the Chinese Stormbreaker, Chinese-Italian Stormbreaker, isn't a clone. It's not a copy of an Evo Sportster. It's the real McCoy. It's an actual real Evo Sportster. Harley Davidson sold the production line and blueprints to Shineray. How come nobody ever talked about this? Why was this never brought up? This frosts my cupcakes. This is just, I'm kind of blown away by this. Now, I found that, and I kept going just to see if I could find any details of, you know, the financial transaction, the actual dates, the actual prices, and I couldn't. There's no record of the prices. But remember now, Harley Davidson is controlled by Vanguard and BlackRock, right? These are the major shareholders in the company. So who knows what they did? They packaged up everything Sportster related and sold it off in one lump to a Chinese company and then pocketed the difference. And in the meantime, stripped the company and its loyal followers and us Americans of a motorcycle that was truly iconic in every way, shape, and form. Gone, sold to the Chinese. And the Chinese are building this thing in Italy and selling it in Europe, and it's the real thing. It's not a clone. This is an actual Evo Sportster manufactured by a different company. Now, like I said, I am no Harley Davidson fanboy. I never have been, never will be. As far as I'm concerned, but I am a Sportster guy. It's the same thing as like being a Volkswagen guy. You know, you're into Volkswagen Beetles, right? You know, you don't have any relation to the Touareg or anything else they build. It's just, you know, you're an air-cooled Pancake 4 guy. Well, I'm a Sportster guy. I don't care who manufactures the damn thing. Unfortunately, I can't find any outlet for the Stormbreaker 1200 here in this country. There might be an agreement between Harley Davidson and Shineray to not sell it in the North American market. I don't know. It's probably likely. That might be part of the whole agreement and why they're not. Well, I know why they're not pursuing any type of legal action against them, because they literally sold it to them. Here Chinese, have this classic American design, build it to your heart's consent, and then sell it all over Europe and Asia and everything else. We'll build this thing with pronouns. Those are the new Sportster. It's just, I know, I was at the Harley Davidson dealership yesterday, the day before yesterday, to pick up a couple of trinkets for that bike that I got inside there, and I'm looking around the show and I'm like, just no. And they had a new Sportster there, the Sportster S, and I'm like, oh God, who would buy that thing? Well, nobody really, because I've never seen one on the street. But all right, that's all besides the point. Harley Davidson pulled a fast one, and it has me pissed off. If you're an American and you are, you know, you have respect and regard for American traditions and American products and American engineering and ingenuity and all that other stuff, it should piss you off too. Screw you, Harley Davidson. Shineray or SWM, whoever. Okay, if you guys are watching this, and I hope somebody from your company is watching this, get one of those bikes over to this country. I will buy the thing. I'll buy the thing cash. I'll give you a full list price on it, and I will be the biggest promoter of your product there is, because I love that product. It's a good product. I'm sure. Listen, Chinese manufacturing has come a long way in recent times, and I'm sure this thing is made of the proper materials, good materials. By the way, just to technically add a little tech to this. Evidently, in order to meet the Euro 5 emissions, they had to drop the compression ratio from 10:1 to 9:1, and they added some oil cooling jets to the bottom of the pistons. I don't really know how they would go about doing that, but those are the technical differences they made, or engineering differences they made in the engine to actually meet those standards. So this is something Harley Davidson couldn't do with its own product. The thing that the Evo Sportster, one of the most reliable engines. Those engine and transmission combinations are known to go over 100,000 miles with no problems, no leaks, all original parts. They'll go 100,000 miles and come apart looking like they were just assembled. So yeah, you guys couldn't figure this out. It wasn't worth it to you to keep that name and keep the legacy and keep people like me happy. People like me, there's a million of us out there. Couldn't keep us happy by just spending a little bit of development time. It took the Chinese and working with the Italians to figure out to drop the compression ratio and cool the pistons, because evidently that's all they did. Those are the only changes, and the horsepower dropped on the 1200 from 66 to 60 horsepower. All right. That is just the kind of thing that just absolutely frusts my cupcakes. Screw you, Harley Davidson. I'll see you tomorrow.